Hello friends, and welcome to our shared spiritual practice for the third week of Advent. Once again, our purpose in the series is to dive more deeply into the mystery of incarnation, not just as a concept or a theological idea, but as a way to expand our awareness and experience a deeper connection with God, with ourselves, with others, and with our world. And so let's begin. Take a few moments to center yourself. Focus on your breathing and on making it deeper and slower. Again, feel the air filling your lungs and bringing life into your body, and feel that cleansing as you exhale. Ground yourself in your space and on the earth, and prepare your mind, your heart, your body, and your spirit for your practice. Remember that you can pause the video at any time if you need to stay with any element of your practice or reflection. And then when you're ready, light the Advent candle for today. And just be still for a moment. You may want to gaze into the flame or close your eyes, whatever is most meaningful for you. And then become aware of what's happening inside you. What thoughts are dominating your thinking? What emotions are you processing? What feelings in your body are significant for you in this moment? What tasks that you need to do are pressing in on you? Take some time again to write these things down in your journal, and when you're done, lay the journal and everything in it aside for the moment. We'll return to it again in our practice a bit later. And so I'm going to give you some time to do this. A few years ago, the internet was amused by a debate about animals and heaven that was conducted on church signboards. The first sign from Our Lady of Martyrs Catholic Church said, "All dogs go to heaven." In response, Beulah Cumberland Presbyterian Church posted, "Only humans go to heaven. Read the Bible." The Catholic sign then replied with, "God loves all his creations, dogs included." To which the Presbyterian sign answered, "Dogs don't have souls. This is not open for debate." But the Catholics weren't going to be silenced so easily, and so they posted, "Catholic dogs go to heaven. Presbyterian dogs can talk to their pastor." Indignantly, the Presbyterians responded with, "Converting to Catholicism does not magically grant your dog a soul." At this point, the Catholics were clearly enjoying the debate too much, and they posted, "Free dog souls with conversion." The Presbyterians, who were definitely taking things way too seriously, replied with, "Dogs are animals. There aren't any rocks in heaven either." To which the Catholics responded, "All rocks go to heaven." Now, I'm a little sad to have to admit that this debate didn't ever actually happen. It was probably created by someone with too much time on their hands using a church sign website. Nevertheless, the debate over whether animals have souls is very real. I've witnessed how heated it can become firsthand. Perhaps now would be a good time to ask you what your thoughts are. Do animals have souls? Do trees? What is a soul anyway? And how does our understanding of the soul impact how we view and relate to God? In the last two chapters of this series, we've explored God as eternally embodied and the universe as an incarnation of the divine in physical form. In this chapter, we're going to be applying these truths a little closer to home. Some of what I'll be exploring here may seem like a repetition of previous chapters. That's deliberate. I believe in the power of repetition to move truths from our heads alone to our hearts and our bodies as well. The application of these incarnation truths will be a little different in this reflection, though. So, what if we are living in the midst of a global incarnation? What if everything we see, touch, interact with, and relate to is an incarnation of the divine? For example, what would it mean to recognize and engage with the divine presence in your cat or dog if you have a pet? I'm reminded of the woman who had 2 pets, a cat and a dog, both of whom she loved dearly. Every day she would feed them, pet them, and ensure that they had the best possible lives. The dog, enjoying her attention and affection, feeling well fed and comfortable, thought to himself, "My mistress cares for me so well. She must be a god." The cat, also enjoying the wonderful life her mistress provided, thought to herself, "My mistress cares for me so well. I must be a god." Of course, there's a sense in which they both were right. What does it mean for us to think of every person, every creature, everything as reflecting the image of God in their own unique way? No one is a complete image of God. Each is just one facet of a kaleidoscopic image that we can probably never fully grasp. But each reflects an aspect of God's infinite nature. As Romans chapter 1 verse 20 puts it, "For ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and the sky. Through everything God made, they can clearly see God's invisible qualities, God's eternal power and divine nature." I want to suggest that the capacity to recognize and engage with the divine image and presence in all things is one of the most life-giving and transforming gifts we can ever enjoy. The more we are able to discern the God that is incarnated in all things, the more we learn about God through all these different manifestations. And the more we learn about God, not just intellectually, but experientially, the more deeply we can connect with God in our own lives and selves. In my opinion, this is the key to living a fuller, richer, and more abundant life. For me, this idea of universal incarnation, of recognizing that in everything there is a ghost in the machine, to use the title of Arthur Koestler's book, has led me into a much deeper experience of what the Apostle Paul says to the Athenians in the book of Acts. Paul said, "For in Him," referring to God, "in God, we live and move and exist." That's Acts 17:28. I believe that the sacraments, especially the meal we call Holy Communion, are designed to lead us into the experience of universal incarnation. Think about it. In Catholic terms, it is believed that the presence of Christ enters into the bread and wine so that they become for us a real experience of the body and blood of Christ, which means they become an experience of Christ's essence and Christ's life. This transfiguration, as it is called, is really just another way of speaking about the sacrament as an experience of incarnation in a different way. And when we share in this incarnation meal, it is meant to teach us to experience incarnation, this real presence of Christ, in every meal, and then to extend that to every situation and every experience. Just pause for a moment and think about what would change in your life if you began to search for and if you began to find the divine in the people around you, in the creatures in your world, in the earth on which you live. How different would life feel to you? How much more sacredness would you encounter each day? Does your spiritual practice empower you to encounter the divine in all the various incarnations you experience each day? Or does it limit your vision to only certain people or certain things? How can you develop a spiritual practice that is more about the incarnation, that opens your eyes and your awareness to the divine presence in everything? How can you immerse yourself more deeply in the Spirit that permeates all things? And don't forget to include yourself among the incarnations you encounter each day. But we'll be talking more about that in a future chapter. So let's sit with these thoughts for a moment. What caught your attention today? What do you want to think about more? What creates that feeling of excitement in you, or what leaves you feeling a little discomforted? What resonates with you? And what do you have questions about? What would you want to disagree with? You may want to make a note of these things so that you can carry them with you and reflect on them through the week. And now again, I invite you to go back to your journal and on a fresh page, draw a circle for each of the thoughts and emotions and feelings and tasks that you identified at the start of today's practice. And again, you can use different sizes of circle, and you can put them in different relationships to each other on the page, depending on how you see them and how they affect you. Take time to picture those relationships. And now think about the ideas from today's reflection that spoke to you the most. And again, draw a circle for each idea, each concept, each metaphor, each suggestion, each question, anything that resonated with you. And again, use different sizes and place them at different distances away from each other to depict how these things relate to you and how they relate to each other. And then when it feels right, draw the lines to connect what you learned today with the thoughts and emotions and feelings and tasks that you identified earlier. And see how today's reflection speaks into all of these areas of your life, all of these concerns, these things that are weighing on you or that are filling your thoughts. And once you've done that, take some time to reflect on the diagram and then make a commitment to live with it through the week and go back to it and adapt it as your insights and experiences change through the week. And now as we close today's practice, I invite you again to write just 2 things in your journal that you will carry into your life and relationships in the week ahead. Firstly, what is the one truth that you want to remember and draw on and reflect on and live from through this week? And then what one thing do you want to do to live from this truth each day of the week ahead? And remember to go back each day to remind yourself of these 2 things and also to reflect again on the other insights you've received from today's practice. In this way, the whole week helps you to go deeper in what we've spoken about today. And now as we return to our daily routines, may we go deeper together into an awareness of incarnation, and may we remain open to experience incarnation more deeply each day.